So the Grandmaster Nightfalls are here, and the first week is definitely an interesting one. It's the Lightblade with some very goofy modifiers that some people are definitely not liking. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a build for the Grandmaster that should make this as easy as possible. Now, I've tried many different builds on this one, and I gotta say, I think I like this one the best. This one kind of focuses on survivability and also just being able to destroy those barrier champions, which is pretty much like the biggest obstacle in this Grandmaster, I would say. So if you guys are going to hop into LFG this week, you guys definitely want to give this build a try. And the only thing that you're going to need for this build is going to be an Ariana's Bow, Exotic Hand Cannon, and also a class item with the Shards of Galanor perk on it. As long as you have those two things, we're going to be able to make this build work. So let's not waste any more time and let's get into it. So first of all, let's start off with our exotic, and it's gonna be the Ariana's Bow. And this thing has been amazing since it got all those buffs last season. It can one-shot barriers with a headshot, or two-shot them to the body, which is also not bad. And whenever you break a shield, trigger some ignitions, not only damaging the thing that you broke, but also damaging anything that's around it. So this is gonna be our main weapon for whenever we gotta deal with some bigger enemies, and also for those barrier champions. There is so many goddamn barrier champions in this strike. I have no idea why it's so many. It's supposed to be barriers and unstoppables, but there's maybe like 2-3 unstoppables and they're all in like one area. And for the rest of the strike is just barrier champions, including the most dangerous place, the boss room, where you constantly have to be moving. So that's why we have the Ariana, just its ability to break the shield very easily without having to charge or draw or anything like that. Just point and fire, and the shield breaks. It also does some pretty decent damage against the champion, so if you do have a bit more time, you could actually just solo it with the Ariana. But if you don't really have a long damage window, then you usually just fire the Ariana to break that shield, and then switch over to your grenade launcher and just unload your whole magazine to the champion. And that should usually kill it. Ariana itself works pretty well even without the catalyst, but the catalyst definitely adds just a lot more to the weapon. It increases the mag size, and it also gives it auto-loading holster, meaning that you don't really have to reload it, which is a big thing because this thing reloads very slowly. So hopefully you guys have the catalyst. If you don't have the catalyst, you're just gonna have to run some loaders. Now for your other weapons, for the kinetic, I recommend that you go with a pulse rifle so you can stun those unstoppables. Like I said, there's not really too many of them, but it's also gonna be useful for whenever you run out of ammo on the Ariana, or if you wanna just save your ammo for the actual important things like the champions. And pretty much any pulse rifle with kinetic tremors is gonna work. There's a couple of them out there, but I think this one right here, the Battle Scar, is like the easiest one you can get. You can actually focus it at Banshee on specific days, so you should be able to get one of these pretty easily. And if you already have one, but it's not this one, then that one will work as well. Now for the heavy, you're just looking for a grenade launcher, that's pretty much it. So I ended up actually pulling out the old Wendigo here. And you might be thinking, unknown, what are you doing? What kind of stuff are you playing with here? Well, I pulled out this Wendigo because it has disorienting grenades. So it adds a little bit of extra utility to the weapon, while still being able to do some pretty decent damage thanks to explosive light. Now, it definitely doesn't do as much damage as some of the grenade launchers now, but you know, this is something that you could do as a worst case scenario, I guess. I just kind of pulled it out a couple of runs for some fun with the blinding grenades. But as long as it's a grenade launcher, it should work. The only thing that we're gonna do with this is pretty much nuke those champions. This is gonna be a champion nuker, and also maybe apply some debuffs to the boss with the grenade launcher as well. But definitely most of the time we're just gonna use armor on the champions. Now for the super, I'm gonna recommend the Silk Strike, and this is gonna be really good, and not only helping you stay alive in places like the boss room, but also just straight up 1v1ing those Hive Guardians, which are very dangerous. You pretty much want to take out those guys as soon as you can, especially in places like the boss room. And Silk Strike gives you a very easy and safe way to do that. You pop it right in front of them, and then you start spamming your light attack. You will pretty much kill them before your super runs out. You're able to finish them while still in your super, and basically just be very safe about it. Even if you're getting shot by other things, the Silk Strike should still be a pretty safe way to deal with those guys. So it gives us a quick way of being able to deal with some of those harder enemies, while at the same time giving us some safety. If we ever need to just get out of somewhere, we could pop our super and just grapple away. For the dodge, we are going to have the Gambler's dodge, just so we can get our melees back faster. And then for our melee and our grenade is gonna be the stasis ones. The stasis ones are just so good. The Dust Field, the Withering Blade, the slows, the freezes, they're really good this season. Actually, not even just this season, they're pretty much always good. And they're also going to be able to stun those Unstoppables, so that's another thing that can help us stun the Unstoppables. And in our case, they're also both going to trigger invisibility. So if we hit something with our Withering Blade or our Grenade, once we kill it, we're going to go invisible. And that kind of adds to our survivability with this build. And that kind of takes us into our first aspect, which is going to be Stylist Executioner. Whenever we defeat a target affected by an elemental debuff, we're going to gain invisibility. Now this is going to give the build a bit more safety and survivability. Whenever you go invisible, you have a couple seconds to catch your breath, maybe move over to a different position, escape a dangerous situation. Invisibility is going to be really good, and we're going to have many ways to actually activate it. If we hit something with our melee, it's going to be able to activate it. Something with our grenade is going to be activating it. If we kill something with the ignition from the Ariana, it's going to activate it. If we proc one of our fragments, it's going to activate it. We're actually going to have a lot of different ways to activate this, just to keep us safe. Now for our second aspect, we're going to be using the Thread Spectre, and the decoy is actually really amazing in the strike, especially again in the boss room. I keep mentioning the boss room, but it's because like this is where most people have issues with. The strike up to the boss room is not that bad, but in the boss room is where I see like most people have issues, so that's why I added the Thread Spectre. This will give you some more survivability since the enemies will be targeting the decoy, and this kind of helps both you and your teammates. If the enemies are shooting the decoy, then they're not shooting anybody else. So this is gonna be pretty good, and we are gonna be spamming our class ability a lot, so we're gonna be dropping these things pretty much all over the place. Now moving on to the fragments. First of all, we're gonna have the Faceted Protection. This will give us some more damage resistance. Whenever we're surrounded, it is 15% at base, and whenever we activate Transcendence, it's gonna be 25. This is just gonna be really good. Whenever we're surrounded, we just gotta take more damage. It just increases our survivability even more. Whenever we hit some rapid finishing hits, it will sever the target. This is gonna be really nice against champions, since when they're severed, they'll do less damage to you, making them less dangerous. And this is also another way that we can actually activate Stylist Executioner. Whenever we kill something that's severed, we'll go invisible, and whenever we also kill something that's severed, they'll drop a tangle. So it both is gonna make us invisible and also make a tangle. Next, we're gonna have the Faceted Dawn. Whenever we hit something with our power melee, we get Radiant, increasing our damage, and also giving us anti-barrier. Next up, we're gonna have the Faceted Purpose. Whenever we pick up an Orb of Power, we're gonna get Woven Mail. This is gonna be pretty good. We get some more damage resistance with it, and also there's gonna be a lot of orbs all over the place, meaning that this is gonna be active a lot of the time. And lastly, we're gonna have the Faceted Balance. This is gonna give us back our grenade and our melee, depending on the damage type that we're doing the damage with. If it's light energy, we're gonna get some melee energy, and if it's darkness, it'll be some grenade energy. Most of the time, melee energy is what we're gonna get, but that's fine because we can slow and freeze with those, as well as proc our Faceted Dawn, getting some Radiant. Now for the artifact, the main ones that you want to take a look at are gonna be Brain Freeze, Concussive Reload, and Total Carnage. This will give you damage resistance after finishing an enemy. This will let us weaken with our grenade launcher, and this will essentially just slow more enemies. Whenever we freeze something, which is mostly just gonna be with our grenade and our melees, it's essentially gonna freeze even more things around it. Now let's take a look at the mods that we're in on this build, and first of all we're gonna have Kinetic Siphon, so we can make some orbs with our pulse rifle, and we also are gonna have Special Ammo Scout and Special Ammo Finder. Finder is just so we can get more special ammo, and Scout is so we can help our team out so they can also get more special. For the gauntlets, you want to go Kinetic Loader. If you do not have the catalyst for the Arianas, then you want to go Solar Loader, but if you do, then go Kinetic Loader for your pulse rifle, and then also Bolt Stream Detonation as well as Momentum Transfer, so we can get our grenade and our melee back faster. Now for your chest piece, there's so much arc and also AoE damage that I had to go with 2 arc resistances plus a concussive dampener. You could also get away with going with a solar one because some of the champions do solar damage, so that would also help you. But I really like this. It's pretty much why I've been running with all the other builds as well, and it seems to work pretty well. For our boots, we don't really have anything crazy. We have Absolution and Orbs of Restoration, so we can get back our abilities with orbs, and also Recuperation, so we can get back some health with orbs. And lastly, for our class item, we're gonna have Powerful Attraction. So whenever we use our dodge, we can pick up all the orbs around us. Bomber so we can get back our grenade energy when we're using our dodge, and also Reaper so we can make more orbs from using our class ability. And like I said before, with the cloak, as long as you have the Spirit of Galanor, you're pretty much going to be good to go. And the reason that we're going Spirit of Galanor is because we want to just kind of get the most out of our super. We want to spam it as much as we can. Spirit of Galanor is pretty much like the only thing that's going to allow us to do that on the Silk Strike. For the other perk, it doesn't really matter. You can pretty much go with anything else. As long as you have Spirit of Galanor, you're going to be fine. And with that, that's actually going to be the end of the build. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys will find it useful. And overall, I hope that it helps you with the GM. This GM is definitely going to be a tough one, especially if you're brand new to GMs, because this one does tend to do it to people. Now the main advice that I'm going to have for you in this GM would be to pretty much prioritize like the Hive Guardians. Whenever you see them, you just want to get them out of there. They are so dangerous when they pop their super that you definitely want to pop your super before them and just deal with them. You just do not want them around. So pretty much just focus them every single chance you get. If you don't have your super and you see one, just unload your entire grenade launcher into it. Just get it out of there. Now when it comes to the boss room, the best piece of advice that I can give you is just to play your life. There's going to be a lot of things going on in the boss room. There's going to be a lot of things trying to kill you. So make sure you drop those decoys. Make sure you take advantage of invisibility to get away from like the boss, the champions, whatever you can do. And make sure that if a champion is alone just by itself, take that chance and take him out. You have a lot of power in the Ariana to not only force him to like actually do the shield, but break that shield as well. So if the boss is not chasing you and is chasing one of your teammates, make sure you use that chance to take out those champions. Because if not, as those champions stay alive with the boss going around, things can get very difficult very fast, especially once people start dying. But if people do start dying, just remember, use their decoy, use their invisibility, and you will be able to get them. But anyways, with that, we're going to end today's video. It is a very good week to the GM. You get double loot, so you get a bunch of materials as well as the new weapon. So definitely try to get in there. It might take a few tries if it's like your first time doing it, but don't worry, I'm sure that you guys will get it done. Anyways, thank you all for stopping by, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care everyone, have a good rest of your day, peace.